comes to the topic. Here's what I preach day in and day out. Pre-foreclosures are the low-hanging fruit. I see agents every day trying to struggle to climb up that listings tree, trying to grab that sweet fruit at the very top, and all these other agents are competing for that same fruit, yet all around that tree at the bottom there is just sitting there waiting to be plucked, but agents are just ignoring it. And I think a lot of it is just they didn't know. There's a lot of agents right now in the industry and probably on this call, you weren't licensed back in 2008, 9, or 10. So you don't know what we went through and the industry went through. So this is your time. This is your time now to look at this niche. This is a niche. This is not the market. It could be. I mean, distressed properties was the market back in 08, 9, and 10. If you were around, you know what I'm talking about. This time around is something that you could choose to ignore. I hope you won't. I hope you'll focus on this and get a head start. Because if what I feel is going to happen happens in 2024, it's going to get ugly. It's going to get real ugly, and a whole lot of agents are going to be chasing this puck, trying to catch up to it. I'm going to hope that you guys skate to where the puck is going, not to where it was. Today, I'm not going to share a lot of stats. I usually do that in the past. I want to focus more on giving you some excerpts from my course on how to actively approach distressed homeowners. So I don't want to take up 10 or 15 minutes with stats where you guys could go yourselves to adamdata.com. You see at the bottom right there, adamdata.com. You all need to bookmark that site. I normally go there every day for any new articles, but usually once a month around the 10th or 12th of each month, they put out the data for the month before or the quarter before. Now, this should wake you up because this tells you exactly what went down starting in 2008 with foreclosure activity. And you see in 2010 was the biggest year for foreclosure action we ever had. Now, we were still busy in 2011 and 2012, but things started to improve significantly, and the amount of foreclosures started reducing. Why did they get so low in 2020 and 2021? COVID. That's what happened, right? These were put on hold because of the state and federal moratoriums against evictions and foreclosures. These came to a halt. Now, they kicked back up in 2022, and you see that the numbers started supporting this. Look at 2023. In just the first half of the year, we've already exceeded all of 2022, right? All of 2020, at 21 and 20. Now look at 2019. I have zero doubts that we're going to pass the 2019 numbers. What does that tell you? We're already on course to pre-pandemic numbers. Now, if you're a member of a lot of the real estate groups that are out there, and I'm not going to name them, but and I think so many real estate agents act a fool on these groups. Like, for example, the things they post borders from idiotic to unethical to unprofessional to clueless. And you probably know what I'm talking about and which of these groups I'm talking about. And there are folks that love to go out there and ridicule the people that believe that we have a wave of foreclosures coming. And they'll just talk about, but delinquencies are the lowest they've ever been. The 40-something% of mortgages are paid in full. The job market is the strongest it's ever been. And you know what this reminds me of? 2006 and 2007, when the same people, or maybe different people back then, were saying the same things. What I have found is that the industry will drink the Kool-Aid till it's dry to defend the fact that there's nothing wrong with our market or could potentially be wrong with our market. I think we are headed for some serious problems. You don't agree? I don't care. Look at the numbers. Have you studied the numbers like I have? For example, what percentage of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck? About 62%. That's scary. And a lot of them don't make it from paycheck to paycheck, they have to use the pay now, buy now, pay later options for groceries. They are spending money on groceries that they haven't collected yet themselves. I think a third of Americans that make over $150,000 per year are living paycheck to paycheck. I could never imagine a time in our country where someone making 150 grand a year is living paycheck to paycheck. The debt is out of control. Consumer debt is over $19 trillion in our country. 19 trillion. Credit card debt over 1 trillion. We have never put so much on our credit cards. And what are people paying on those credit cards? 20-something% or higher. What is now climbing like crazy? Credit card delinquencies. What about auto loan delinquencies? How much are Americans paying for everything right now? My good friend Brandon is in California. I used to live there. Brandon's paying about $7 a gallon for gas right now. I'm complaining because I'm near 4 right now. What are you paying for association dues? Have they been going down in your area? They're not going down in my area. What about insurance premiums? What's happening there? What about property taxes? What's happening there? You know that the average American is spending about $800 more per month now than they were a year ago at the same time? Yes, the job market is strong. Of course it's strong. People are having to work 2 and 3 jobs just to make ends meet. How long do you really think this can continue? Our savings are being depleted at an alarming rate. We have burned through all of the COVID cash, everything that people have. Now people's savings accounts are depleted. In fact, a recent survey showed that only about 40% of Americans have $1,000 in their savings account for an emergency expense. Now, by now, you probably picked up on the fact that I'm a tad passionate about this. And I've been through it. I lived through this. I lost it all because I drank the Kool-Aid back in 2006 and 7 and bought properties left and right because real estate always appreciates, right? That's what I believed until it didn't. I want you to wake up. I want the country to wake up. It's not going to happen until it happens. But if you recall, when things went south in 2008, it didn't happen gradually. It literally happened overnight. People woke up and the property values just tanked, especially in Florida, where all this got started. So yeah, I believe we're in for a ride. And here's what I hear all the time, but I don't understand. How can we even have any kind of a foreclosure crisis when there's so much equity? And this meme should answer that question. Just because you're sitting on equity doesn't mean you can afford your payments. How many of you agree with that? Because that's exactly what's happening now. If you're behind on your payments, you can't refi. You won't qualify. You can't get a HELOC. Now, let me ask you something. Over the past 2 years, as buyers went nuts and bought at the very, very height of the market with as little down as possible, how much wiggle room do these folks have before they're underwater on their mortgage? See, about 5% of mortgages right now are underwater. That means that there are more opportunities for you right now to help a distressed homeowner exit that property with dignity by listing their home for sale as a regular sale than they are as a short sale. But that's changing because short sale numbers are increasing. There are areas in the country where property values are starting to slow down and reverse. But when you go in with so little down, what happens if you should start missing payments? It doesn't take a lot of missed payments before you find yourself underwater.